All right. So the 2016 odd couple, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Do you like what I did there?
I do.
So after this last week was the first time we'd ever really talked about the ongoing election in the podcast. And I mean,
we'd shit-talked Trump before, but just in passing.
Well, it's getting scary now, and and maybe we could just do a little weekly update up until the election. That might be fun.
We might as well.
So after the grab her by the pussy remark came out, and he tried his best to deflect it by saying it was locker room talk. Now a lot of
I just love how many professional athletes have come out and said, we spend our entire time in locker rooms, and we have never heard any of this shit because we're not fucking assholes.
They basically gave a collective nuh-uh to Donald Trump. So a lot of women now have come out with all these allegations about Donald Trump sexually assaulting them or coming on to them. And during the debate, he brought out 4 of Bill Clinton's accusers and held like a press conference and then had them sitting in the debate. Mm-hmm. How fucked up was that? That he would do that he would stoop that low. Okay. Now I understand that that's, Hillary's husband, Bill, and he was embroiled in a lot of these similar sex scandals. Mm-hmm. Of course, we never had any audio tape of Bill Clinton saying fucked up shit. Yeah. And he was never convicted of a crime.
No.
Okay? He also never admitted to it on tape either. So that's the difference. And everybody's like, well, Bill Clinton did this. Bill Clinton did this. First of all, Bill Clinton was never convicted. We don't have any video evidence of him doing anything.
Also, Bill Clinton's not running for president.
And yeah, you're right. Bill Clinton is totally not running for president. His wife is. So you've got all these women coming out now that are saying, they're just, saying these things that happened either on a plane 30 years ago or an Apprentice contestant came out against him. And with Gloria Allred. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I mean, and that makes me think the fucking gloves are off. Gloria Allred doesn't really support people unless she knows she can win a case.
Oh yeah.
But they said they weren't pursuing legal action, but these things could change. Mm-hmm. So you have Donald Trump in this debate against Hillary Clinton. He marches out these former accusers of Bill Clinton. And then during the debate, he acts like a toddler. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed? He's like, well, she didn't get to speak as much, or I didn't get to speak as much as her.
He really did.
And then... yeah, and he made that remark. You know what I'm about to say, right? Mm-hmm. When she's like, well, I'm glad you weren't president then. He's like, because if I were, you'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. That's really fucked up to say.
And he talks like,
in a debate,
as soon as I'm president, she's going to jail.
Right. And he's saying that, the media is poisoning the minds of the voters, which, of course, there is going to be some bias depending on what you watch. Like, if you watch MSNBC, you're probably a little left-leaning.
Yeah.
If you watch Fox News, you're definitely a conservative.
Yeah.
And it's not fair and balanced. They're all funded by... Rupert Murdoch owes Fox News.
Yeah.
So it's his viewpoint is what's going to be broadcast to the people that watch that show.
Yeah.
And it's getting scary, man, because Trump is going on in his speeches about how he believes that the election is going to be rigged. And you have Trump supporters that are telling reporters that if Trump doesn't win, that they are going to revolt and that there will be bloodshed and that they will do what they have to do because they love their country and that Hillary Clinton should be shot. And you have Trump saying that he thinks the election is going to be rigged and that his people should go to other polling places and to keep an eye on things. And I'm reading on like Reddit and in other comments that these Trump supporters are saying, yeah, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be armed and I'm going to make sure they're like, I'm not going to do anything illegal, but I'm going to make sure that everything's on the up and up and people are voting legally. And I mean, sounds like there's going to be some voter intimidation, which is a federal crime. And it's just scary to me. It's really frightening that his supporters have such little respect for the democratic process that they would be willing to not only try to influence an election, like by force and aggression, but also openly admit that if their person does not win, that they're prepared to take up arms against their own country's leadership. Mm. Well, and that should frighten every single American.
Well, and I will just play devil's advocate very briefly, because they have been fed this line of thought that the government, corporations, anyone that is basically Donald Trump, but not Donald Trump,
right.
because obviously he's the only guy fighting for us.
Right.
Anyone that is that wealthy, that has that much power and influence over the government, it's all corrupt, and they keep being fed this line over and over again, and they have been for the last 25 years, 30 years, 35 years. They've been this has been shoveled into their faces for I remember 3 decades.
My dad was a Rush Limbaugh fan back in the day. I don't know if he still is, but I remember watching Rush Limbaugh's television show with him shortly after Bill Clinton was elected, and he would begin every show, America held hostage, day 34, or whatever, and it's just that kind of rhetoric and that kind of language that you're being force-fed for years and years and years. It's got to do something to your brain.
It turns you into a completely unreasonable and just... I mean, you can't understand any other viewpoints.
Right, and you're letting your emotions guide you. And it's just, it's a scary time to be an American because, I mean, if the polls that I'm seeing are to be believed, and if you go to websites like 538.com, where right now it's showing that Donald Trump maybe has a 14% chance of winning against Hillary Clinton's 80+%. Yeah. So it's looking like Donald Trump is going to lose spectacularly. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a landslide loss.
I mean, and he is not helping himself with anything he says, anything he does, and anything that anyone digs up about anything he said or done in the past.
What's going to happen when he loses? And he's been feeding this rhetoric to his diehard supporters that already have to have something wrong with them because they're supporting. Because it's like, do you not see like the things that he says? So what's going to happen? When he loses, he's basically setting the stage for a contested election. He's setting the stage for him never conceding the election. He's going to be, I didn't really lose the election. It was rigged and all this kind of stuff. He's already setting the stage for that. He's setting the stage for a defeat and to push the blame onto someone else. So it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But what is that going to do to his supporters? Are there people out there that are crazy enough to start taking up arms against their government? And what's going to happen because of that? Because our military will get called in to squash that real quick, especially if like 10,000 armed civilians march on somebody. They'll call in the National Guard. They'll do what has to be done to save the rest of the people. And I know that the majority of Americans wouldn't do that. But what happens if you get 10, 20,000 people that are that unhinged? I saw a comment that a Trump supporter had left and they said Trump should raise an army and take the White House by force. That's treason.
Yeah.
That is treason. That is the most un-American thing that somebody can say is let's take it by force. And it's a really scary time to be alive. And it's really scary that so many Americans are buying into this. That so many Americans still in 2016 have these, are that racist and that visceral hatred for the opposition, for Hillary Clinton, which of course she's not perfect. She's not.
Of course not.
And is she going to be a perfect president? No. But like I said last week, this isn't a risk that I can take, man.
Of course not.
It's the political equivalent of buying a lottery ticket. And hoping you're going to hit it big, and the odds are so far against you that I don't know. It's a crazy time to be alive, man.
Okay, so you remember that pretty blonde evil fucking human being Tomi Lahren?
Yes.
Yeah. So after the Trump comments came out last week before the debate, I guess now almost 2 weeks ago, but she released a video like defending him.
Right.
Like how?
Yeah, because she says every guy does it. She's like, come on, get real. Every guy talks like that. And even Ben Carson, I saw an interview with him where he's talking to this reporter from the BBC, and she's like, do you believe these women are lying? And he tried to skirt the question, and she just kept going, and he's like, can we turn her microphone off? And then he's like, it doesn't matter if they're lying or not. Ben Carson.
What?
Right. And it just makes me wonder because it's like, remember when Barack Obama got elected? A lot of people from the right would say, well, he only got elected because he's black. Well, if that's the truth, then why isn't Ben Carson your nominee?
Yeah.
Right? But anyway,
because he's a walking Xanax.
But I think that the racial tension is going to have to boil over at some point. You know, you had Black Lives Matter, and then all of a sudden now you've got Trump and all this kind of stuff. So that's gonna stir that hatred. Okay,
I mean, the white nationalism behind Trump is mind-boggling.
Right.
Like, it's very, very similar to 1938 Germany.
Right, and that's the thing is, like, everyone's like, oh, Godwin's Law, Trump's literally Hitler and everything, but, like, yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
But Hitler didn't...
It's called history.
Here's the thing, Hitler didn't win an election. His party won a lot, and then
he was elected
maneuvered himself into a position to where once they did finally overthrow, he was moved in. Mm-hmm. But he actually lost his election.
Yeah.
And a failed coup attempt before he rose to power. And so I really hope that these kind of things don't happen. I really hope that the majority of Americans aren't that stupid. And it looks like because of the polls they are. Now, here's what I want to say for anybody that's listening to this at all. If you plan on voting and you see somebody, even if you're planning on voting Republican, if you see anybody intimidating voters, call the police. Mm-hmm. Start recording them with your cell phone. Mm-hmm. Go in groups if you are a minority. I mean, and it sucks to say that. It's 2016 and it sucks that we have this kind of worries going on, but go in groups, report things that you see, find links to these election watch groups or whatever that you can report things to. Call the police, call the sheriff if someone's there, and if they're intimidating voters, do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't let someone intimidate you from voting. And if you think that it's going to be harmful for you to vote, try and get an early ballot.
Mm-hmm. They do that in a lot of states now. I'm not sure if our state is one that you can do that in, but
I don't know. But I mean, you and I are both white dudes, so
yeah, we're going to be fine.
I mean, we're going to be fine. And I'm not voting for Donald Trump,
right?
But
though, for anyone of our listenership that is planning to vote for Donald Trump, do not forget, Election Day is November 25th.
November 28th.
Was it 20?
Yeah, that's what Donald Trump said. It was November 28th. So here's a good way to remember the Election Day. It's the same day that his hearing starts for the Trump University fraud.
Yeah. What about the one where he raped a 12-year-old girl? When does that one start?
There's a hearing set in December for that. So imagine this. If Donald Trump wins the presidency,
he will then be on trial.
There's like there's a hearing now,
yeah.
But there's litigation attempting to be attempted while we have a president that's being accused of repeatedly raping an underage girl.
Mm-hmm.
A president we have video and audio evidence of him saying that because he's a star, he can get away with sexually assaulting women.
And admitting to sexually assaulting women.
And saying you can do it. They just let you do it. They don't care because you're a star. So just keep that in mind. I really don't think that we're going to change anybody's mind.
Of course not.
With this, because I think everyone's mind's already made up. It's hard to imagine that there's such a thing as an undecided voter in this election. Because I think people are either going to vote for Hillary, they're either going to vote for Trump, or they're going to be one of those people who are like, well, I don't want either of them. I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson, or just not to vote at all.
Yeah.
So time will tell. We'll see.
Ken Bone for president.
The Bone Zone.
No, he seems super creepy. He's hilarious, but he seems super creepy.
Well, at least he has the freedom to say things that are super creepy. And those freedoms may get taken away.
Yeah.
If we're not careful.
Yeah.
You don't know. And just, this is one of those situations where I'm like, I really hope that the president doesn't have as much power as they say he does. Because if he does, then, and Donald Trump wins, then heaven help us all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gonna do it?
That's gonna do it, man.
All right.
Let's we'll see you next week, episode 11.
And don't forget, comment, subscribe, make sure you follow us on Twitter, shoot us an email, dorkagepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Dork Age
Is
podcast.
it the Dork
I
Age?
think so. I'll have to take a look. But
Yeah,
I'm
you need to.
pretty sure.
We need to double check that.
We'll double check it. You can
follow
find
us-
us some way. Just
yeah,
send
follow
us
us
a
on
comment
Facebook.
YouTube, whatever.
Yeah,
You can put comments on anything that you download our show or watch it.
exactly.
There.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, what he said.